I put the gas tank back in a couple of days ago, and I put all the anti-chafe strips and everything else that are supposed to go in here, and I'll show those to you in a second. But the gas tank wasn't fitting exactly the way I want to, and it's not been fitting well the whole time. And when I went to install the fuel lines, I realized why it wasn't fitting well is because there's supposed to be a hole in the bottom of the tub where the gas tank fitting sits in there. So it's keeping it up a little bit. It doesn't come through all the way, but it comes through a little bit. So that is what's been causing part of my gas tank fitment issue. So I gotta take this thing out for a second, and I'll show you right here. I got all those are anti-chafe strips. But what we gotta do now is figure out where this hole goes. This is I plugged this up incorrectly, but this is the main gas feed right here. And so what I'm gonna do is take a wild guesstimate about where this thing goes, and we will, I don't know, maybe I'll put some Dicom on the bottom or something. I'm not sure how I'm gonna do this, but I will mark it somehow. I think I will put a little Dicom on there and slide it back in and see what happens. And hopefully we'll get a little mark, and then we're gonna drill a 1.5 inch hole wherever it goes. So the other thing you can see, this is a anti-dust and weather donut that fits right here, around here, and would seal up, because like I said, this thing fits pretty tight down here. It's gonna seal it up between the floor of the Jeep and the actual gas tank. And the other things I'll show you are these little anti-rock and debris pieces, and they're kind of a pain to put on, but they sort of slide in here and they just fit, kind of a tension fit. And there's one more that goes back here, like so, and they fit in here and essentially keep debris from falling down there. But you can see it still gets in there, but that's one of the things we got to work on here. So let's get some Dicom. Hopefully it doesn't make a massive mess. Of course. Let's see. Hey, look what we got. See my little blue mark right there? So what we'll do is get a little of this plumber's putty, and we're going to stick it right where I think that hole is, based on my Dicom. And we'll go like that and see if this will actually stick. And hopefully, I want this kind of like that. Hey, how about them apples? So I'm just going to drill a little center hole through here so that I know where I'm going. Okay, we got a hole. And shockingly, right where it was supposed to be. Okay, out of battery, but almost done. Bada bing! Look at that, that's beautiful. So let's by the way, they sent me, don't tell anybody, the Jeep police, they sent me Ford marked weather stripping, or stone guards as they call them. Now that just looks so much better and fits down so much better than it did before. I wonder if that makes a difference on not a huge amount. Yes, it does. Okay. All right, well, the good news is, let's go back underneath here one more time. That's slick, boys. Access to the gas tank. Although it really does need to come down quite a bit, but anyway, I guess it will. You would think, potentially, that that the gas tank would drain, the main feed line would be lower. At least I would have thought that, but it's not. So this is where it belongs. You just got to be careful. These things are, they're soldered in here, and all the resellers of these things warn you, don't crank on this thing without putting a wrench on it, because you will turn it off. So this to me seems like in fact, there's a nice warning label for you. I left it on just because, I don't know. But anyway, we'll tighten this back up in here. Same way. That one's too, okay, different size fitting on that one. So let's go get a different wrench. Nice and tight without hurting anything, obviously. I don't want to have a leak. I guess this is for draining the gas tank. That is really not ideal the way they did this, but see if I can get a thinner 3/4 inch. Boy, that's awfully sloppy. That is really a terrible 3/4 inch wrench, or 9/16. So is this one. Boy, maybe it's a different. We got to out the Jeep guys. Look at them apples. Those guys are using metric fittings on a World War II Jeep. That is sacrilege, but not so sacrilegious that I'm going to go find the correct SAE plug. It is in fairness, this is, I believe that this this tank is made overseas. I'm not going to tighten that down. That feels about as tight as I want to do. I don't want to make that thing leak. Yep, metric plug. Let's hope it doesn't leak. Because if it does, I got to go back in. So now, we're going to stick our little donut there. And I think otherwise this should be, it probably won't be, but it should be the last time this thing goes in. What we're going to do now is I got to fit a couple of these guys in here. So this very cool contraption goes right there. Then I'm going to slide this thing forward like so. And this one, not so easy to put in, but it goes down here too. And you kind of have to work it in. And it kind of supposed to block everything out here. All right, so that's all of your, it makes for a nice, come back a little more here. And this is all going to get forced back because of the straps here. And this one, I still may have a problem. It's not quite fitting all the way down. This one goes down really well. So we'll stick this in and start tightening the gas tank strap down. And then I may have to go find a different bolt. Yeah, this is a little tight here. So all these we have obviously have anti-wear strips and all kinds of things in here that are going to have to get crushed down a little bit before this will tighten right. So I'm going to put it on without a washer temporarily. Let's see if I can't snug it up a little bit, and it'll crush things a little bit. And I'm sure when they were making these in 1943 that this was not so hard to do. But I made a lot of changes to this tub, including installing the gas tank sump. So I don't blame any supplier or anybody else on this. There were lots of changes in here, so I kind of expected to have to work pretty hard to get this to fit correctly. So good news is once it's in, it should be in for good. All right, so that's better. And then this side still needs to go down a little bit. You see, we're a little shy. I don't think this bolt, we're about yay short of where it needs to be to tighten up fully. So let me get another bolt. We'll tighten this up with another bolt and come back to it afterwards. Hopefully it'll settle down and then I'll be able to put the other bolt in correctly. I might need a second set of hands. I just want you to twist, if you can twist that one. Yeah? This one? I think that's all we need. Perfect. Bang, boom, bah. You're now an official Jeeper store. So you can put that right in the film and say, he's a cameraman extraordinaire, editor extraordinaire, and now certified Jeeper store. The other thing that this is going to hopefully do is make the seat fit better, because the seat's still a little tighter than I want it to be. I don't want to crush anything, obviously, because mechanical force is pretty awesome here, but I would like to, I mean, this was designed and presumably this is the correct length, so that would fit now, so I'm going to go a little tighter. So I don't think it should be, I think I should just be crushing the padding and the various things that I have in here. It's not real hard to turn, so hopefully I'm just tightening things down. Let's see what the gas tank looks, I mean, what the seat looks like in there. The seat is obviously finished. I don't think we talked about that, but it's all painted. And other than putting the canvas on it, it is ready to install. Wow. It looks pretty doggone good. And I've got to put this little piece right here. It goes on top of that, which gives us a little more room. This will go here. I would like that back a little further, but I'm going to put this like so. So that I have, all I'm looking for here is trying to figure out how much room I got everywhere. That's close enough for government work. I want to move the seat in such a way, and I want to mount this piece, which is sort of the back support. I think I'm good here. I don't think I'm on anything. And I'll screw those down. I think that looks pretty good. Got a little space back here. I was worried about that before, but I can pull that down. Actually, it's going to pull down fine. And the only thing I have to watch is I just need to pull that down so that I don't, this is real tight in here. It is real tight anyway, and there's really not any more room to move. I could maybe move this back a little bit. I got a little distortion going on right there, so this is obviously tight. I got to be real careful. I don't want to hurt anything here. All right, I think I'm okay with this. You know, a little distortion on the tank, so I think this tank needs to come over. If I can get it to come over a little bit this way, I'm going to try to do that. So what we're going to do now is loosen everything back up. And I want the tank to come back toward where I am just a little bit. I'm going to have to come back a lot, but I want it to come back a little bit. Ooh, that looks better, buddy. This thing is not doing its job. So it's stapled on right here, and it needs to really be up. It's pinching down like this. So what I'm going to do is hit it with a little glue, a little 3M spray adhesive, which is just the world's most messy stuff. But it's also crazy sticky. I used it to put the anti-chafe strips, felt strips on the bottom of the tank. And that's part of what's going on here, but this is, it will come over a little bit more. Again, I'm putting a little bit of a dent right there, which I don't like, but hopefully we've got this thing pretty close now. The thing that may cause some of this problem is this little anti-strip here that I may try to install that after the fact and just see how that works out. Because this thing is clearly part of what's going on here. It may be impossible to get in if I do this, but see, boy, that makes this fit a lot better. See, that's pretty loose now comparatively. I like that a lot better. So that's moving the right direction now. This rear corner is just higher than it should be. That looks definitely better. And again, if you're using this as the gauge, this now fits. Now whether or not I can, see, if I push this down, it'll even go more. The question is, can I install it or should I leave it at, see, this is pretty loose now. That's good. Let's see if the seat fits better now. It feels better. The other thing amazes me is how much installing all these parts scuffs up your beautiful paint job. I'm gonna have to repaint the whole Jeep by the time I'm done with it. I guess this is why when you look at factory photos again, they look kind of beat up when they're coming out of the factory. So that looks so much better. And this, that's pretty slick actually, guys. Got room underneath here. That's pretty cool. I believe I can put this in my little bolt here. So that's that. And now if I just slide this in, bolt this down like so, I'll put this up a little bit. This thing's pretty slick, guys. Got plenty of room here. I like that. Okay, so I think the only thing I need to do, check one more thing underneath and make sure that The fitting is relatively centered in the hole that we just drilled. And it is pretty doggone close. Certainly good enough. Okay. We'll take this out for the last time. All right. So I'm going to pull this off one more time and see if I can put the other bolt in there. If it's too tight, which it may be, then I'm going to use this bolt, which isn't going to matter anyway. Ooh, I might get it. That'd be cool. You figure if you're using the correct size bolt that you're probably pretty close to the correct size measurements, right? I might have to use my man Josiah to help me. My Jeep mechanic Josiah. Don't have a lock. All right, let's mark the seat. We got to drill 3 holes in here and put 3 cap screws or 1/4 inch cap screws that go through there. All right, so what we're going to do now is mount this bad boy like we're permanently mounting it and drill the holes. Believe it or not, that actually tightened. That's cool. I'm going to mount this as it is. And I think what I'll do, push a little pressure on this to make sure this is nice and up. But I'm trying to center this. And I think what I'm going to do, I know there's nothing underneath here, just because I've spent so much time under this tub. I think I'm going to drill this first hole, and then we'll put a little, raise this thing up just a smidge, bolt it in, line everything up, and then get the, and then drill the other 2 holes. This will. Okay, a little bit better. One more fitment. I will mark these holes, and then I'm going to draw a straight line, and we'll figure that out at the end of the day. I got a hole marked there. Yeah, that's crazy, guys. Can you see this?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. So I'm going to have to expand the holes or give myself some room in here. I'm probably going to draw a straight line. I don't know why. The metal, what's going on here is that this metal is distorted. That's why it doesn't fit trailing exactly perfectly. Okay, I got that one. Got a drill bit. They were not anything great. How about them apples? So all holes, hardware, which is right here. We need sheet metal screws and this. Stick that in. Go through the fancy hole. Tighten it down a little bit. Put the first one in place. Right there. Okay, slick. That looks like that's gonna pull out just fine. So now what I'll do is I'm gonna pull this thing across. It's gotta come back here a little bit because there is a a bow to the seat. So I want to make this tight, not crazy tight, but I want it a little tight. So I'm looking for the center of the tab, and I'm giving myself a little tightening room. So that's that. So I'm looking, I see the hole. Give myself a little room. The awl goes in. Fill her up. Okay, shall we install it? The wrap up?
No, to restart.
You good there? That is. I gotta say something here, guys. I am so thrilled with how this thing fits. The gas tank is a little snugger than I want it to be, but it does come out. It doesn't hit. I wish I had about 1/8 of an inch there, but not the end of the world. So I bought this Jeep almost 7 years ago. And, you know, it was really a wreck. It's always been a fantasy of mine, a goal of mine to own a World War II Jeep. And I ended up buying Portrayal Press after I bought the Jeep, for another story for another time. And I got waylaid or had to pay attention to that business and didn't get to work on this Jeep. And so it's taken me, 4 years or 5 years, I guess, before I got back to it. So I've been working on it in earnest for about 2 years. And I can't tell you how excited I am. So it wasn't together when I bought it. It was kind of all apart. There were no seats. So this is the first time that I've ever really sat in this particular Jeep, and it's almost ready to go. So a big milestone. I'm gonna have to keep staying lean, otherwise I'm not gonna fit in it. But wow, how cool is that, guys? I fit just fine. Very exciting. This feels great, looks great. Lots of little details left, but wow, what an exciting moment here. So, as always, I'll turn a few things around here. I've been restoring the speedometer. I'll have to show you some video of that too. I took the speedometer apart. It was all stuck and got that fixed a couple of days ago. It came out great. I'm very excited about it. The dial on it is a little bit boogered up. It's old and kind of faded, but I think I'm going to leave it that way. I actually didn't change any of these instruments out. The only instrument that's going to be new is the thermometer, the thermostat, or the temperature gauge. And the only reason I bought a new one is because they're really hard to find old ones, and if you do find them, you have to end up doing things to restore them, because almost always the bulb is broken off. But so I'm going to have all original gauges in this thing, other than the temperature gauge. And I may end up making a new dial for the speedometer before it's all said and done. I have another Motometer correct speedometer for this 1943 Willys, and I may end up repairing that one and making it look a little bit prettier. But for right now, I'm going to put this old one in. I rolled the odometer back to 0, and everything works beautifully. It's really, they're not that complex, believe it or not. It's a little hard because it's small, and you need magnification to be able to work on it. But maybe we'll do a video when I restore the next one. But very excited. So I'm going to keep working over the next couple of days to keep touching things up and getting everything else done here. But other than tying up a little bit of wiring, I think, and getting the fuel lines installed, I think we're getting awfully close to driving this thing. And I promise we'll video the first drive so that you guys can come along for the ride, since you've been along for the ride so far. So as always, I appreciate you tuning in here, and like and subscribe and give me comments. Let me know what's going on out there in the world, and if you're enjoying the videos or if you'd like to see something else. And like I say, keep your corners square, get out in your shop and make something. Thank you.